But I'm working for NBC pulling cable on the field in the middle of the afternoon, you know. But that's the beginning.
People want to skip that part now.
They don't understand. First of all, the only way you're going to.
All right, I'm sitting here today with the one and only executive producer, creative director of entertainment at the Faena Theater in Miami Beach. Brian, thank you very much for having us here today.
Oh, my pleasure.
Really
but I have to
appreciate
correct you on that one. Is that all right?
Yeah,
I
go
have
ahead.
to correct you. Director of Creative Entertainment for Faena Live and Faena Theater.
And Faena Theater. That's important. I tell you, I remember back in the day when this thing was being built, I lived down the street. And
That's right.
to see this transform to what it is, and you being here from the very beginning is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, it's been quite a journey, to be honest with you. Quite a journey.
What were some of the challenging parts in the beginning? I mean, dealing with
constant changes. I mean, you know, I was, and this is a random, quick story, random how I got here.
Yes.
I was in television, you know, as you know, because we worked together in television and for 40 years. And basically, I got burnt out with television, you know, shooting, editing. And then it airs once and then it goes away. And that's, you know, for all that work, for me, it's just after a while, just got tired of doing that kind of stuff. Went to Sedona, Arizona to escape and sort of figure out what I'm going to do next. And this idea came to me in a Tuesday afternoon on a mountaintop, beautiful blue skies. Suddenly I envisioned myself in a theater and I'm going, what is this? Right. You know? And so this image came to me and I had no idea what it was, but it was kind of cool looking. It was a small theater and beautiful. And 2 weeks later, I get a random phone call from a production assistant I worked on a reality show with, who actually worked on the show that we worked together on. And she says, oh, they're building a new hotel in Miami Beach called Faena. I had no idea what Faena was, to be honest with you. And next thing you know, she goes, well, yeah, they're looking for somebody to run their theater. All right, cool. So get on a plane, come back to Miami from Arizona. And 2 weeks later, I'm meeting with the owner of the hotel and one of the wealthiest guys in the world who finances all this, and wonderful men. And next thing you know, I'm hired. I'm running this Faena Theater.
Wow.
It was 10 years ago. 10 years ago.
Great.
So it was this random thing that happened, basically.
So that happened when we met.
Yeah.
We met 10 years ago.
Exactly.
And
it was right after that.
Right after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember like calling you to check in and you were like, yeah, I got this theater going off the ground.
Yeah.
And then you said you should come by. And I came by and they gave me a hard hat and a yellow vest.
Yeah.
And they're like, Brian Forti's, I'm like, Brian's in the rubble right now. Like, he's really building this thing. Like literally had to like sign a safety form, go down, find
exactly
you.
Right. Yeah.
And then that was an amazing, and to see this here now.
Yeah.
And us here 10 years later.
It's amazing.
It's a great 10 years, a good sample size of life, I believe. Every 10 years,
your life can completely change in 10 years, and that's what it did. And this is, you know, I've been in the entertainment business, as you know, for a long time, you know. And this is, I consider, the third chapter of my life, in a sense, of my professional career. And it's a great way to run it out, basically.
Absolutely.
And,
it's funny because the parallel to that is me, who's also been doing entrepreneurial stuff since I'm 18 years old. And to find myself here, episode 1 with Brian Forti, this is like, it goes to show you in 10 years what can happen.
Amazing, right?
You know, and you bring up Sedona, and I also went to Sedona by doctor's orders.
Really?
I was in the restaurant business in Manhattan.
Oof.
By the Trade Center, super busy all the time. I had 4 places.
Wow.
I was starting to burn out, fly off the handle. You know, it's intense in Manhattan. You know,
oh God,
everything's intense.
Well, plus that business, though. You know,
and that business, like a catering business.
Yeah,
off-premise catering business is not easy. You're delivering everywhere, so you have all these obstacles. And I remember my doctor. I remember going and getting a full physical just to say, hey, like, what's going on? And he was like, well, all your symptoms are great. I mean, you're 25 years old, but I think you need to get away. Like, he's like, when did you go away last? I was like, well, 2 years. I went to Cancun, but I can't really count that as a restful vacation.
Oh yeah.
He goes, no, I'm gonna
3 days in Cancun is not
I'm
restful.
gonna prescribe to you. He wrote down
You can.
Arizona, Scottsdale,
Yeah.
Sedona, Arizona.
Wow.
And on the bottom he wrote, by yourself.
Great.
Go by yourself.
Wow.
I'm 25 years old.
That's a heck of a doctor right there.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what very specific too.
Wow.
So I go to Phoenix and I go to the Marriott in Scottsdale Spa because I was like, okay, I want to get some fun out of this because I'll go to a spa. If I'm gonna duck out of this, the bubble, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna get massaged or something, Go there and I rent a Cadillac and start driving through the desert, on the second day there.
Yeah.
And I went to a mountaintop town called St. James.
Yep.
Which, I'm from the Bronx.
Yeah.
I don't know these places.
Totally,
this is totally, I'm like,
you're like on a different planet.
yeah. I'm like asking the rent-a-car guy, like, are there going to be snakes around? Like, when I get out, do I have to worry? He's like, yeah, if you're going to go to the bathroom, you might want to go now. You get into the desert, just, you don't want to. And went up to St. James, met some really cool people, bikers, guys I could relate to, there's tourists and stuff. And then came down from the mountain, went back to, drove around, stood there for like 2 days near that mountain. And then I drove back to the hotel and I was back to where it's corporate guys with golf clubs and stuff. And I was just like, but wow, it's the same place I went. And when I came back, I was able to kind of go back into society as a normal person. Like I got off medications because I was on some anger management stuff and the restaurant business.
Yeah, of course. Brutal.
And that was the sequence. If I can tell anybody, if you're feeling something, go to your doctor, talk to him about it. Look what he prescribed me. He prescribed me a vacation.
Yeah.
That's
unusual though.
Yeah, it
Usually
was great.
They prescribe drugs.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
That's the escape.
The second page of the prescription was something to calm me down, but he was like, this needs to be in your calendar.
Amazing.
So that you could know you're going to have a calming moment. And then to go to Arizona, you went to Arizona and I came back and it was just amazing. It was a good thing. When you got back from Arizona and you got here, met with the owner, that had to be something that really was like, wow, is this really happening?
Great. You're right.
How did you?
Well, yeah,
how
because
did you
then I saw
consume that?
Then I see pictures of the theater that they want me to run. Basically, they're hiring me to produce the entertainment and run the theater and bring in cool programming and shows and concert and all that kind of stuff. And I see pictures of it, and it's the same image I saw sitting on the mountaintop in Sedona. So the energy came to me. It was like a vision, and basically I just accepted it, and I think this way. I'm very sort of spiritual. I believe in manifestation and stuff. I went with it, and it brought me here to this, and it gave me this.
And what a great find
It's
for Alan to come across you, a local. Hired, you're an expert.
Well, because I knew this town very well from entertainment sense. I started our production company called 40 Lane Entertainment in 1986, and we blew up because in the 80s, MTV launched at the same time. So everybody's coming to Miami to do music videos because it's a great place to come and shoot.
Right.
The weather, the locations. The cast members, the extras you can hire. So my company blew up. So for 30 years, we were the top production company.
Wow.
Yeah.
Small production company.
Small production, based in Miami, traveling all over the place. We controlled Miami pretty much with productions. Much more music related. Worked with the Estefans, Gloria Estefan, Shakira. A lot of the Latin artists. We did a big show for Pepsi that ran in 14 different countries.
Wow.
So
great exposure.
It was a great run. We had a great run.
Yeah, I remember we worked on a project together when we met in
That's right.
2015, and the Estefans were involved.
That's right.
And I remember after you giving me a manifest of here's 40 airport runs that are going to happen in 2 days, and we were all kind of thrown in this thing, right? I mean, I was a driver,
right,
for one of your guests and the former Miss Universe, and they were insistent on using me, and then that made, I guess, production say, who is this guy? Does he have more cars? Because they weren't in love with whoever they were talking to.
Right.
So they called me up, and the power of a phone call.
Yeah.
Like I had just moved down the street on 24th and Collins,
Right.
and I was like in the pool, and I was laying back. I might have just had like a drink or two, and I was just like laying back. You know, when your ears are in the water, and you could just hear the water, but you could look up.
Right.
You really could think then, because you hear your mind.
Yes. Yes.
I heard my mind.
Yeah.
And my mind said to me, I looked up and I saw the clouds moving, right? And I'm like, was this a good idea? You know, because I'm from New York, and I'm like,
so you're questioning yourself a little
I was
bit.
just slightly questioning, because I'm thinking of, I'm taking a snapshot of my bank account,
right,
where I am,
right.
I'm in a pool.
And what you're about to
I have
get
no
into.
furniture upstairs in the apartment at the building I'm in. There's 2 twin beds that I had gotten for my kids, because my mindset was, look, as long as I have a place to put my head and my kids could come here in an emergency, right? Like, hey guys, I took a picture of those 2 twin beds and I sent it to them, and I was like, we're all set. They're like, Dad, where's the furniture? I'm like, we don't need it. We have a place to rest our head. We're good.
Yeah.
And I said, it will come.
Obviously, yeah.
When I got out of the pool, like, because you know, running a logistics company, you got to constantly check your phone.
Yeah.
So after a while, as I said to myself, I said, you know what, everything's going to be fine. You've made it this far. You've been through all the 9/11 with the restaurants, getting just 4 restaurants wiped out in one spot. Mm-hmm. You're here now.
Right.
You know, I went through all kinds of different avenues to get to this place that I'm floating in. Get out of the pool, and I check my phone, and it's one of my entertainer clients, and says, hey, are you in Miami? And I look, and I'm like, yes. I just moved down here. He's like, great. I'm here with my friend Carl, and we're going to Art Basel. Can you do us for like the next 5-6 days? And I was like, absolutely. And there you have it.
Yeah.
You got to have faith.
Yeah.
You got to manifest. You got to trust in your journey.
Definitely.
You got to trust in your journey.
Yeah. Well, plus, you know, you have confidence because you're confident in what you've done in the past, and you know that you can survive and make shit happen.
Right. 100%. I was like, okay. And as soon as I jumped in my car, I don't really even know where all the hotels are, but I'm a logistics guy. Right. I'm like, I'm going to do it. This is how you learn it, though, right? You go from place to place.
Well, and they didn't even have the GPS back then, did they? I don't remember in 2000.
It wasn't dependent. No, you didn't trust it. Let's put it that way.
Right.
You could look stuff up, map it out, but you didn't it wasn't the Bible yet. Like now we all use it for everything.
All the drivers, all the Uber drivers, that's all they know. They know they follow these.
Exactly.
It's talking to them.
It's in their lap. It's speaking in another language. You're sitting in the back coming from. But yeah, so that's how I it started here. It was, and then from that, I was able to buy a bed for myself.
Oh wow.
I was like, when this gig's over,
and that's like a prize
and
thing,
they pay me, I was like, I could get a bed in the master room. We'll put something in there, and yeah, it was amazing. And then it led to that gig being over, me going back to New York, setting the table there, coming back here, and then I get a call. Hey, Miss Universe is happening.
Yep.
So and so's insistent on using you.
Excellent. Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah. And
then they were like, do you happen to have, whoever was on the other side of this phone was funny, because they were just like, do you happen to have any other cars? Because we're not really happy who we're using right now. So I said, just knowing the lingo, right?
Yeah,
I'm like, well, when's your next production meeting? Like, where are we at? And they were like, well, actually we're meeting tomorrow. If people are flying in from Nashville. Our team's getting our first huddle tomorrow at FIU College in Doral.
Right.
And I was like, I'll be there.
And that
hung up the phone, and then I'm just like, okay, have an opportunity here, I think, to get a few cars in.
Yeah, huge.
Because and I had a lot of guys calling me before I got here saying, Larry, when you get down here, and they know how busy I am, because I was flooding them with work from New York. And sure enough, I got there, I met your team, and they were like, hey, how many cars do you have? And you don't know this yet, but I was saving, I was like, I got to tell them about this, but at that point, it was just me and one car. And I had met Andreas in an Italian restaurant down the street in Doral. And I called him up after. I was like, I'm going to mentor this kid, because he was behind the bar, going to college, not very happy. And he was just and I was like, you know what? Let me call that kid I met the other night. I need an assistant here on this project. If I'm going to go for it, Let me go for it the right
Right,
way.
right. Yeah.
So I called him up. I'm like, put on the best clothes you have and meet me at the FIU parking lot. And he's like, for what? I'm like, you're gonna be my assistant. I said, I don't. He's like, I don't have a suit. I'm like, just think church. Like, you know me from the Bronx. Just
We're
think
all
church.
black.
Yeah, just think
Like a
church and,
funeral.
and meet me there with a pad and pen. And that's how we did it. Like
Yeah.
I met you guys.
Yeah.
I knew I had confidence. It's like, I guess you can compare it to like one of your first production jobs.
Sure. No, absolutely.
Where someone
Same
called you and said, like when Pepsi called you, where were you at with that? Like in terms of like.
No, it was going to be a big leap into something because, you know, we were doing basically one-off stuff, music video for Gloria, music video for Shakira, you know, a concert special. But a show that airs every week and you have to do multiple versions for different countries, that's a whole new level. And yeah, so I had to find all the right people, editors and producers and people to bring in singers and, you know, all the different cast members and props. And it was a whole different level. And we had to change every week, shoot different places every week. And then make sure it gets out in time so that it airs on time. Because this is back in the day where, you know, it was all about tape. It wasn't really as much digital. And yeah, it was.
And your head's got to be racing, like what locations.
Yeah,
and like,
but you know what the key is? Like you're saying, the key is in entertainment, when you're building a company, you're building a brand of yourself, of what you do professionally. In entertainment, you have to surround yourself with the right team members. That's really what it comes down to. You can, you know, the experience you have and you bring into it it can be good, but you need a team around you that can rise and help you rise together. It's all about that synchronicity,
right?
Really. And so that's lucky enough. There were a lot of people here in Miami that I could use to put this show together, and it blew up for 10 years. We did it. We generated over almost $50 million. Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you see, like, and all that came from you just believing in yourself.
Correct. Exactly.
Having confidence. You're
That's
like,
right.
no, okay. Like, I was like, I don't have 20 cars right now. I have me.
Yeah.
But I'm a bad man.
Yeah.
You know
and
what
you
I
know
mean?
what it takes, and you know how to find somebody.
Absolutely.
I do remember a story, a very funny story, where during that production for Miss Universe, where I saw you sort of outside the offices, and you got guys around you, and I could see you like sort of instructing them on things. But wait, fix this, do this, don't forget to do this, make sure that the car has this, make sure it's, you know, all those things that you were sort of as the leader of the company that you do. Were in place, that because you knew exactly what had to be for the production to be, you know, happy with what you're doing.
100%.
So that was one of to watch that you in action, you know, reminded me a lot about how I do things too.
Right. That Miss Universe event for you was a successful television event at the end of the day?
Yes.
Afterwards?
Yeah.
Everyone got.
It was totally different than anything I'd done before, really, in a sense, you know. But I enjoyed it. I mean, you know, again, it was one of those things where constant things changing that you have to adapt to quickly, but you know, that's part of the life of a producer is to adapt and take it to another path or do whatever you got to do to make it happen, and that's the most important.
I'm starting to feel like a producer right now because
I would say.
that's what was happening to me, because
right.
it gets passed to the logistics guys, like, okay, this is what needs to happen.
That's right.
You know, I remember them saying like NBC had their own cars. And then the next thing they came and NBC had no cars. And they were like, Larry, we need 8 more SUVs. Like if it was like pass the bread.
Yeah.
I need 8 SUVs. And you know, I'm calling guys and I remember there was
all
an
kinds
amazing
of challenges
event.
coming up, and you know, we were at the Doral Golf Club, right?
Right.
I don't think it was Trump Golf Club yet, but it was Doral or something. I don't know what it was, but there was all kinds of issues with the housing and stuff.
Yes, they kicked me out. They kicked me out because I knew enough to be like, I'm gonna be, because I was driving. I wasn't quarterbacking like I am now, where like I'm in a command center and I could see the cars and I could be like this. I was in the car.
Yeah.
So every time they got out, it was go time. Like they'd be like, all right, we're gonna come down in 4 hours. We're gonna go to dinner. You go relax or whatever. And I was like, all right, thanks. Close the door. Get in the car.
Boom, boom, boom.
I'm like running to the front. I was like, where's the guy with the flamingo shirt? I'm like looking for him. I'm like, you know, the guy's like, I am Vladimir. I am Sprinter driver. And I'm like, Vladimir, I need you to do me a favor, buddy. Here's $50. please go buy a shirt at Ross
Right. Get out.
and a little tie.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if your boss told you, because I'm going to find out who he is,
Yeah.
because, we're running around,
Yeah.
we're using affiliates. So I'm like, this is the Miss Universe pageant. Did anyone tell you that? Like, I know you're supposed to.
He
He's
did
like,
not tell me.
yeah, he didn't. It didn't mean nothing. I don't know Miss Universe. And I was like, okay, so please go buy a shirt and clean this printer, please.
Right,
It's
right.
dusty.
Yeah.
Like, this is a major event. And so you did. It's funny that you saw me in the
I
background
did, yes.
doing this stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what a great event. What a great event. That was good. And then after that, you got this opportunity here.
Yeah.
And it was just, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, this is down the street from me. And then I came to
That's
visit
right.
you.
Right down the street. Yeah.
And professionals, how professionals deal with, I consider both of us professionals in terms of the way we operate, was I was like, wow, Brian's under a lot of pressure. Let me go visit him. And we had lunch in that little cafe. It's
Yeah.
probably not even there
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
And it was just like a quick touch.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Brian, I'm down the street. If
Right.
you need me for anything,
Yeah.
let me know.
I
Good,
remember
like, way to go.
I
Like,
remember that, yeah.
and you need those little
And then
people
you
in there.
actually, because you're right, you saw that I was exhausted because again we hadn't even
Yeah.
opened yet, but we're going through so many issues technically, installation, the pressure to get up and running, all that stuff. I mean, it was intense. We didn't, the hotel was trying to get the certificates of occupation so they could actually have people come into the building. And as we're getting close to Art Basel, it was
Pressure.
pressure. And the theater wasn't ready, but we had to do an entertainment. We had to have a concert as part of the opening ceremony. I'm like, holy it was rough. But I remember you invited me to a concert just to take for a week and went to see The Who.
Went to see The Who. That's
The Who.
right.
And it was an escape that helped me out a lot. Appreciate
That
Thank
was
you.
fun.
I still remember that. We had a
All right,
blast. That
I'm
was
glad you brought, I didn't even remember that,
I
to
did.
tell you the truth. I brought two of my guys from the
Yeah.
Bronx,
Yeah.
and we went to The Who.
We went
that
to The
was
Who.
a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. And for me, it was something I needed at the time because I just needed an escape to get my head out of all
Right.
the issues and the
And that's what
problems.
I guess, see, subconsciously, I must have just been like, hey, let's get Brian out of where he
the
is.
universe said, put it in your head. Help Brian out.
I love the universe, man. I really do. I really do. It brings us here today. And it's just like, I'm so happy that you're in this place because I'm in the same journey you are here today, filming episode 1. Like, I've done what you've done in television, and you want to move on. Now this is all live and fun, and the beautiful costumes and the people.
And every night is different because it depends, the show is the same, but every night you have a different audience. So you have to understand that that's the beauty of live entertainment that I really appreciate from television is, when you produce a show, it goes on the air, but you're not with the people while they're watching it on TV. So you have no idea how the reaction is. Here, you're feeling the energy in the room. You see their faces. You can see them stand up and applaud. You can see them singing the song. You can see them just, it's just an amazing feeling it live, the reaction. And then you can actually make tweaks to your show. Like if something isn't working, you thought it was going to work, but the audience isn't reacting the way you want, you can make little tweaks. And then you look at it the next night.
And you see what works.
I love live entertainment,
Yeah,
But it was part of the path in television to get me here to live entertainment.
Yeah. What do you think the difference is, in terms of obstacles? Like, television is just long, super long.
It's a long process, and you're dealing a lot with clients who, you're editing their show or whatever it is, and they have their opinions on things and what's going to work and not work and what people want to see and not see, and then you have to re-edit and all those kinds of things. And but here is different. They trust me and what we do and what my team does. I have an excellent team of creatives here, not creative stage managers and stage producers, choreographers, costume designers, and then I have an amazing technical team. So we have done so well in the last 10 years that the company, the company that owns Faena, basically, and Alan Faena, they had no idea the theater was going to do as well as it does. It was a venue that was created just to attract people to the hotel. Oh, we could stay they have a theater in Faena, so we'll stay there and we'll eat the restaurants and we'll go to the living room or the spa. But it wasn't the venue that everybody thought would be the most profitable venue in the hotel. And that's what we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
And kudos to you, because I
Thank
know
you.
that you worked hard doing that. And you know, I call it again, silently, right? Because you have to do these things. When you're the maestro, you're doing it silently in your head. Things are manifesting to you. You're like trusting it.
Right. Right.
And then you put it out there.
Right.
And then you see it works. And then there's more trust for
Right.
yourself.
Right.
There's more trust with like, I know what I'm doing. I got this.
Yeah. The first year I wasn't in live entertainment.
Right.
I was in television.
Right.
So it was, learning a lot of things. And then not only the creative side in a sense, because it's a different environment. The palette that you're working with is different than a television screen. It's a theater. And then you go, wow, I can make this really immersive. People don't want to just look on the people on the stage, like a Broadway show. Broadway show is basically, it's on stage.
Right.
This theater we have here, Faena Theater, is an immersive theater. You can have dancers coming from every single door around you. You don't even know there's one standing behind you dancing, or they'll touch you. It's all interactive and very immersive, and that's something. It took a little bit of time to learn what we could do with this kind of venue, and that's what really elevated us in our productions.
Wow. Yeah. Recognizing that feature that you can pull off.
Right. In this kind of venue.
And implementing it.
Yeah.
And then at that point you forecast and say, okay, now I know who I need.
Right.
I need this kind of.
Right.
Wow. That's amazing. It's so funny how our minds are the same when you're dealing with putting on productions, and I'm dealing with the outside. So, I mean, I believe we take care of the artists coming in and out of here.
Definitely. Yeah.
When they come. And
Well, we launched a very like jazz. Okay, so we not only do resident shows, cabaret shows, and music, but we launched the jazz series 7 years ago, and first couple of years was tough because, first of all, this venue was not known for jazz. Jazz is not big in this town, really.
Right.
It's not a big jazz town. New York, you can have jazz clubs everywhere, right? I mean, Joe's Pub, you can have Birdland, right? Those are all very famous. People go there to see.
And they're going to pack in.
Miami wasn't known for jazz and stuff like that. There was no jazz clubs anymore. So we launched it. It took 2 or 3 years to get it to where people go, oh, let's check it out. And now, basically, we sell out every show. And we get great artists. And you're very involved in that because you handle all the transportation. Your company, Star Ride, handles all the transportation.
And looking at that from my perspective is that you guys care from the very beginning. Like when these people land, you're creating not only an experience for your guests, but for your artists.
Right.
And I can't tell you how important that is.
It is.
Because I run up against budgets all the time. All right, budgets is a word that we all have to deal with.
Right.
Doesn't necessarily mean like we have to figure it out. I always put it back on them. I'm like, if you want the service that we provide, I'm going to put that a little bit back on you. Like, we can make a little bit of an adjustment, but our service is, our services.
Yeah.
And if you want to treat your people right, then this is the way you want to go.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to put off, like, I give you guys a lot of credit because I'm telling you, people miss that part. They miss the part of like the artist landing and having a terrible experience.
Right.
Why would you even jeopardize that when they're going to perform in your theater?
Right. That's a terrible thing. Like if they fly in, let's say the flight is bad or whatever, whatever.
Or super delayed and no one's tracking.
And then they land and
there's no car.
There's no car. Do you think that they're going to come by the time they get to the stage, they're going to be into the performance or excited about their performance? No.
Hell no. No way.
That's why it's so important. From the moment they arrive in the city, they need to be treated like they're special and that's when you do that, a performer, when it's finally on stage, what they do, they elevate because they feel so good about everything that's led up to the getting the point.
Absolutely. And I don't think younger people today in your position or my position get that. Yeah. They just think ride share.
Right.
Like throw them in a ride share.
Tell them to take an Uber. Tell them to take this.
Take an Uber, taking it. Ride share, don't worry about it. They'll get there. No. We're professionals. We want these people, and we're hiring professionals. You have to treat them like professionals.
That's right.
And good for you to get that because that believe me, the little things like that, the little details. And then when they leave, right, they're more applicable to come back if they were treated well
Exactly right.
from beginning to end.
That's correct.
We know the hotel's going to do their job, right?
Yeah.
We know that the venue is going to do your job because they have you here, right? And then to throw in a vendor or whatever other vendors you use to keep that elevated,
Yeah.
that's a very smart,
Very important.
smart play.
Very important.
Very important. I can't, not many people get that.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing that you do. If you can tell yourself or ask yourself something that you did early on to get you where you are now, what would that be? What did you tell your young self?
Work my ass off, basically. You know, that's you brought up younger people of today, right?
Right.
A lot of people come to me because they want to be in entertainment, they want to be in theater, but they don't want to work hard.
Right.
And they want 6-figure salary right out of the box. They're like, okay, well, wait a second.
For 6 figures, I got to go home and go to sleep, and you stay.
I mean, when I started this business as a production assistant, where I'm like lugging cables. I remember when I was going to college and I was in the broadcast business, and I worked at the University of Florida has a PBS station, but I also went to do a football game in Georgia with like the Gators versus Georgia Bulldogs. But I'm working for NBC pulling cable on the field in the middle of the afternoon, and it's hot, sweating, but that's the beginning. And then from there, cameraman, stage manager, working my way up to.
People want to skip that part now.
They don't understand. First of all, the only way you're going to be a good producer in the entertainment business is you've gone through every single role before that, because then you can connect with all of those people because you know exactly what their job is. And
Right.
You can say, listen, this is not the way those cables need to be wrapped up and taped down because this is a dangerous situation. It's a liability. Or, you need to check your camera, your batteries, or your mics before we start production. It's all of those things
Right.
that you learn because you did them coming up in the business that make you a good producer in the end. But nowadays,
I guess that's the same way with me as a driver.
definitely.
Me being in the cabin of the car, like when I tell guys the cabin of the car, they go, "What cabin?" I'm like, the cabin of the car is where you're sitting. What goes on in there, you have to control in different situations.
Sure.
Yeah. Of course, you have to get gas the night before.
You're not going to go to gas
I didn't have time.
with your.
The flight was delayed. I got home late, and I didn't have time to gas up the car. I'm like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so those are things like as a driver,
Right.
I'm able to head that off and go, okay, make sure on the way home, no matter how tired you are, I'll send a text.
Right.
Gas up and wash the car at this location, 24, New York, 24 hours.
Yeah.
Stop in the South Bronx, get the car washed, gas up, you'll thank me later.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow you're ready to rock.
Right.
And you'll be a better mental set. You're
Exactly.
set.
Right.
And then when you start to groom people like that in terms of like, for themselves, it's not for me. I mean, I have a brand and a product, yes, but if they want to be successful, you have to do it a certain way.
Exactly.
And that way sometimes is not pretty. You're sitting in the Bronx at 2 in the morning at a car wash. I'm not saying that's a great thing, but guess what?
Right.
This is what we do.
That's right.
So when people come to me, like you say, I want to be in the entertainment business, Brian, I really, they come to me all the time, like, I could be a driver. And I'm like, you're a school teacher. And I understand you want to make extra money, but it might not be what my company. You might want to do a rideshare thing. They're like, no, Larry, I hear you drive so-and-so and so-and-so and so. I can handle that. I'm like, not as easy as you think. I've had guys who are professionals in their industry, say like a real estate professional, and they hit a bad patch in 2009, 2008. I was actually a real estate broker and a mortgage broker. That's how I got into this business. That major financial collapse, I remember being in a conference room and I was like, basically just like sitting there with some of the other mortgage and real estate guys, and they're like, and I was like, what are you guys gonna do? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, 2 banks just closed this week.
Right.
I don't know what paper you read, but you might want to pick up the journal because this is a problem.
Yeah.
And and they're like, well, what are you gonna do? I said, I'm thinking about starting a car service. Then everyone started laughing. Car service, you know what I mean? I'm like, well, what else can I do that I'm still dressed up and driving people around? I might be able to cross feed, sell a building, sell a house. I have someone in the car. People who take car service have money.
Right.
That's just a quick street thinking,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Common sense, street thinking.
Correct,
What can I do at this time?
Right.
I have no degree to drop on a table to somebody. I got grit. Grit gets you places.
That's right. Definitely.
Grit and faith.
Yep.
And understanding that,
Totally.
things are going to be bad. And then things are eventually, hopefully,
Right.
if I keep doing the grit thing, do good.
Great. Yeah.
And I think that's how you ended up in this theater.
Yeah.
And ending and that chapter.
Exactly what it was. Exactly what it was. Because I was tired. I was burnt out. I was even coming out of a bad, toxic relationship at the time. So everything was not good.
I mean,
It was not good.
people don't understand that part. Like I've been there too. I've been down that divorce route, and it was regretful. It's a terrible thing. But to climb out of that, man, you got to have grit,
Yes, you definitely have to.
and you got to find a place.
And that faith.
Like Sedona.
And that awareness
Yeah.
that, things, if you just put yourself in the right consciousness, in the right, it will flow to you, But if you're a negative person, negative things, very judgmental to things, and that energy is not coming to you.
No,
It's going to bounce right off you.
it's true that I'm glad you said that. I mean,
Yeah.
people, something special about today with this interview that I feel is that you and I I've noticed have come the same way.
Yeah,
We've come down the same roads, just parallel.
right.
And we've had the same energy, the same
Yeah.
outlook on
Well, that's
how.
why we can connect so well. I mean, in
Yeah.
a sense, it's like we're.
Yeah, I never had
we're
to hound
connected.
you for things and be like, "Hey, Brian, don't forget me. Brian,
Yeah,
don't forget
no,
me."
yeah.
I'm always like, "Hey, Brian, are you okay? How's everything going? Good. If you need anything, I'm here for you." And you're like, "Oh yeah, you know what? Actually, we have a band coming in." It's funny that you say.
Funny.
So
Yeah.
probably to my disservice, I'm not like that guy that's constantly
I
thinking
wouldn't call
about.
it a disservice. I don't.
But I mean, no, I
it's
mean,
not a negative.
meaning
thing
like
at all.
I don't follow up. I don't badger people for business.
Yeah.
I'll check in on them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then that's when it
You're not
comes.
pushy. That pushy
Yeah.
kind of over. Yeah. No. But nobody likes that. Well,
Nobody like, but I'm just saying,
Huh?
some people,
Yeah.
that's not us. That's not us.
Thank God.
Thank God, that's right. Anything can happen to me today. I know that tomorrow I'll be whatever it may be.
Right.
I might be making pizza. Who knows? I don't care. I know how to tie an apron. Once that apron goes on, look out.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I turn that oven on.
Well,
We'll
you
be flinging
barbecue a lot, too,
pies.
don't you?
I barbecue every weekend.
Yeah.
Every
Good for
weekend.
you.
I just, the takeout thing is not healthy, number one. Number two, I'm raising little.
No. And-
I've
and
restarted my
mentally,
life. Yeah.
It's mentally, isn't it great when you're cooking?
I love it.
That's same
I
thing with
set
me.
it up.
Gets you out of your, day-to-day
Right.
reality, and you're like, oh, cooking.
Exactly.
I love it.
And serving. I love the people's face when I go
Yeah.
they're like, I've had people come over and they're like, whisper to me. They're like, my dad never makes steak like this. He burns it. People are visiting my kids' friends and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
They're like, Mr. Vasquez,
Oh.
steak is unbelievable.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thanks for having me over.
Yeah.
Thanks for serving me steak. Because sometimes people come over and it's just whatever. They just give them whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, we're going to eat good today.
Good.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's what
That's a good feeling.
the Italian back. Yeah, it is.
Great.
It's rewarding.
Yeah.
I'm in my
No doubt.
flip flops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm doing my
Very
thing.
chill.
Very chilled.
Very
Very chilled. What are your plans for this third chapter? What do you see anything coming?
Well,
Besides,
yeah,
keeping this
be-
is
because
enough.
the brand, the Faena brand, is now expanding. Faena started in Buenos Aires
Okay.
15 years ago, and then there was an opportunity here in Mid Beach, Miami Beach, to build a district here, and this was very successful. So now, and the theater here has been so successful that they're expanding the Faena brand. New York opens this year. The theater will open next year in New York, and then Tulum, and then Saudi Arabia, a number of places in Europe. Everyone will have a theater.
Wow. So I assume that
So
you're
I'll
going to
be-
be spreading the
I'm gonna
secret
be a
sauce
par-
on this.
I'll be a part of this third chapter. Might be going a little longer than I thought,
Okay.
but that's okay.
That is okay.
I feel good. I feel young. Things are going well. So
I
yeah,
love this.
I'll be bopping up to New York a lot,
I love this.
and then I'll be in Saudi Arabia, and then I'll be
Wow.
all over the place.
Good for
Tulum?
you. Well, just to know, we service all those areas.
I
So
know
if
you
you
do.
need help with anything,
Well, you're
by all
global.
means, yeah, we're
Yeah.
global. So we'll help you because we want to do it for more of that reason than we like to elevate the brands that work with us. we're big at the Met Gala. Just so you know, like we're
I'm
like
sure,
they're
yeah.
not we're like
I'm sure. Yeah.
for the top like
Yeah,
we're
well,
the people that
listen,
they go to.
You're at the top of your game.
Yeah.
And
So the only reason I say that is just to validate like our level of service for brands.
yeah.
Brands need
Well, yeah.
vendors that know how to work with their clients.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just the same way we do here.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's a good thing that ends up happening just by default when you do the right thing.
That's right.
Happens by default.
That's right.
People come in here by default. They don't know, You're the wizard behind this whole thing, and I'm proud to know you. I'm very proud to have met you.
Thank you.
And know you.
Appreciate
No, I
it.
honestly do.
Thank you.
It's because we're regular guys, and
Right.
the universe puts us together.
That's correct.
And then we keep ourselves, like we keep doing our thing.
So,
as a token of our appreciation to you, and this is something from me to you, to just always remind yourself where
Oh, wow.
you had that
Oh, that's beautiful.
affirmation.
Dude. That's amazing, dude. Very, very nice. It's beautiful. That's exactly the image that I remember. You know, the red rocks and the mountains like that.
And how the moon's in the
Yeah.
daytime.
And how we used to climb to the top here in the full moon and do mushrooms.
Well, yeah, that's how you
Can I say that?
manifest. Yes, you can.
But that was back in the day. Can't do that anymore. But yeah, but that's
Right.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Very
That's how
much.
manifestation happens.
Appreciate
And then
that. Beautiful.
And then from there, you and I met. We had some professional relationship there. And then one day I called you up just to see how you doing. And you said, I'm building a theater, Miami Beach. And I'm like, it's down the street from you. And I was like, okay, let me come. And I came. I remember that day. And this is where we're sitting right now.
Wow, that's it. Yeah.
This was me coming in some entrance, and I was like, whoa.
It's hard to even see it. Oh, you can almost see the mezzanine area. Oh, there's the stage. Yeah, I didn't know you had took a picture like this.
I did.
What a mess it was.
Right.
That's amazing.
This is another little
that's cool.
picture of someone actually working on it.
Yeah, look at that.
And this might be good for your office.
That'd be great for my office. And I get this. I want to show this to the team members.
And
here.
that was the jacuzzi when they started the outside project. I was walking around, so let me take a few photos. And I just thinking of you and doing the research that we do for these kind of interviews and podcasts. I said this would be a great thing for him that he can have.
Wow, they would love.
Look at that.
Oh, wait till the team sees these. These are cool.
I mean, this was the theater.
Yeah.
This was like I walked
and
in
it's
here.
hard to, I remember walking in here every day, going, "Come on, guys, can we make a little progress here?"
Yeah, like that ladder was and then it went back.
Seriously, then the guys are sitting around.
That has to be challenging.
It was challenging.
People don't understand that.
They don't.
Like, they don't understand how this place got like this.
Yeah.
Look at this. I mean, this is bare bones.
Definitely bare bones.
Not even knowing. You weren't even sure what was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
At that point. You haven't even thought of an act
structure.
Yet. Have you thought of an act at this point?
The whole technical thing was like a whole nother thing, but this is just those guys. How the hell is this going to get done? And by the time we get to December.
That's why I took the picture. I was like, better him than me. I was like, how's this going to be a theater? Is this a theater? And I was like, let me grab some shots. And then I went back and I was like looking at I was like, I got to look at these. I know. Because there's a picture of me in a hard hat and a vest that I took in a mirror across the street or upstairs.
Yeah.
And like this place was under so much construction. I literally thought the theater was across the street. I swear to you.
Yeah.
Because there's a round building.
It looked like different. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Which is the forum, the event space.
Right.
And this didn't look anything like that.
Like exactly.
Like a theater. And it's funny you mentioned the hard hat thing because there were, at the time I'm reaching out to entertainers trying to book the year when we finally
opened. That's what I was
opened.
just thinking. Like, how did you?
So I had to put everybody in hard hats, and they were like, and they come in there and they go, "This is a theater."
Wow.
And then I was in a conversation because I was going to do a contract with Dita Von Teese. I don't know if you've heard Dita Von Teese is a very famous burlesque dancer. In fact, she's the queen of burlesque. Very, very well known globally, all around the world. Amazing performer.
I've seen her show.
And I bring, her, she puts on the hard hat and she looks fabulous. And, walking, and all the guys are stopping because she's beautiful and super sexy. And But so one of her favorite pictures is her in the hard hat here at Faena Theater.
You see, I'm going to print that one
yeah.
and send it to you. I'll mail it to you.
And she remembers the walkthrough, just like you're saying. She remembers that whole thing. We're still very good friends. And I've known her for 10
that's
years.
amazing.
10 years now.
And she's still
I
coming?
bring her here every year. Yeah.
Amazing.
She'll do a weekend of shows here with us every year.
Good for
And
her.
we sell
Good
out,
for you
like,
for doing it.
Every single show.
I want to re-see that because I saw her. It was a phenomenal
Amazing.
show.
Yeah.
Amazing show.
Well, thank you very much for the pictures.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And we are very gracious for your hospitality here today and everything. We look forward to your chapter 3.
I appreciate you asking me to be on the first podcast.
First episode.
I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
It's an honor.
My mother
be a
was
part of
like,
that.
Brian Forti, he must be a nice guy. Lorenzo, he must be very nice.
Yeah, he's a
your
nice
first
guy
guy.
now.
He's the best, Mom. The best. That's how I use it. When I hear Brian Forti, I think the best. I think of excellence
Thank you.
because this is excellence.
Thank you.
And you've done it.
Thank you.
And good for you.
Come see my new shows,
And
and
good for you.
everybody else, come see my new shows.
Yes.
Come see the shows, okay?
Yeah.
Everybody is invited to come.
I look forward to that. Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Great to see you. Keep up the great, excellent work,
Thank you very
man.
much.